Hey guys, Bushcraft412 here. Want to do a real quick video about choosing a weapon, a firearm for concealed carry. And I want to talk real quick about the considerations that I make when choosing a firearm and just some ideas for you guys to consider as you pick out a new firearm, especially to you guys who are new to firearms. The current political climate is bringing in a lot of people who never would have owned a gun before, but now are because of this political climate. So let's get started. First of all, your first consideration should be caliber. What caliber do you want to carry? What are you comfortable carrying? This is going to be different for everyone. Every person is going to have their own preference. Some people are not comfortable with a 38 or a 25 or a 22, and they're going to stick with something like the 40 or the 45. And that's fine. Whereas other people who may be new to firearms might be a little bit intimidated by the 45. I'd rather stick with like a 9mm or 38. So you need to look at the various calibers available, what you're comfortable with, as well as what you can afford to shoot, because you need to be proficient with the gun that you select. So you need to practice with it, and you need to be able to shoot it. If you can't afford to shoot 45 on a regular basis, don't choose it as your everyday carry concealed weapon. So choose a caliber that is fitting to you, that you can handle, that is not intimidating to you, but also you can afford to shoot it on a regular basis and become proficient with not only the caliber but the firearms, so that you can handle it safely. Next consideration is your ability to carry it. How you carry conceal is going to really depend on how you dress. For example, someone who lives in sunny Florida, Miami, is going to dress differently than someone who lives up here in New York, where we have the harsh winters. If your typical outfit is t-shirt and shorts, you're definitely going to want to look for a smaller, more concealable firearm. If you live in an area like me where it's cold 6 months out of the year, you can get away with carrying a larger firearm. So that should be your other consideration. What can you carry on the clothing that's appropriate for you? And I really don't recommend people going out and buying a whole new wardrobe to carry conceal. You really should find a gun that works with what you already wear. And granted, you're not going to be able to carry conceal if you're walking around in a tube top, but guys, if you're wearing a tube top, you got a bigger problem than carry conceal. So of course, first consideration, caliber. Second consideration, what's appropriate for your clothing. Third consideration, I would say, is the gun itself. You want to select a gun that fits well into a holster. You don't want anything that sticks out or could possibly catch onto a holster. So you typically want a gun that is very smooth side, not a lot of doohickeys or options on the side that may catch up or get caught on things. This Ruger LC9 is, I carry this gun a lot, but it's not the best carry concealed gun because it does have this side safety that can get caught on things. It has, the frame release that can get caught on things. So sometimes, when you're pulling this out, I have felt this safety catch on the holster a little bit. So it's a consideration. Look at the gun itself. What can get caught? What's out there? Versus this Glock has pretty much nothing on it. Safety. The frame release is very, the side release is very, there's nothing obtrusive sticking out of this gun whatsoever. The sights are very low profile, so you don't have to worry about the front sight getting caught on a holster. Likewise, very similar with the Smith & Wesson. There's really nothing on the edges that you have to worry about getting caught. However, the sights are definitely a little more prominent than the Glock, so as you're pulling this out, it may get caught. So you want to look at things like how high profile are the sights. Is there anything on the side that may get caught into a holster? Is this a gun you're going to be able to reach into and grab and pull out in a repeatable and safe manner? So really look at the gun. Preference is there is no right or wrong when it comes to concealed carry. It's what works for you. We all have different body types. We all have body frames. We wear different clothing. Some of us are men, some are women. Everything's different. So you really need to find what's appropriate for you. You can carry a gun, in your waistband. You can carry it in a hip holster, shoulder holster, ankle holster, small of the back, there's a million different ways to carry your firearm. Look at your body frame, look at your size. You know, for example, I'm kind of a bigger guy. I would not carry a gun in the front of my belt. It just doesn't work for me. I tend to carry in, I'm left-handed, so I carry in the 8 o'clock position. Works very good. I can reach it, I can get it out, I can draw it even when I'm sitting in my car. Works really, really good for me. So you need to consider, you know, where you're drawing from, all that when you select a firearm. Another example of things to look at are, like for example, this LC9 with the finger grip. Now, you can buy magazines without this finger extension, and I put this one in particularly. I have one without and I have one with. I wanted to show you this one because this is something that can very easily get caught when this gun is in your belt and this is hanging out. This is something that can very easily get caught on a car seat, door frame, or even just poke another person that you're squeezing by. You want to look at things like this that may be obtrusive or stick out or get caught on things, and generally try to solve that problem. Like an example of this Ruger, you can buy the magazines without that finger extension, so you can solve that problem very easily for like $6. No big deal. Next consideration, very important one, is reliability of your firearm. It's very easy when you're new to firearms to go to like a pawn shop or, you know, some, you know, kind of seedy place that sells firearms, and to pick out that $99 special, that gun that's $99. It's small, it's a little tiny pocket pistol, and you think, wow, $99, how can I go wrong? Well, you know, let's just say technology changed a lot over the past 10 to 15 years, and a lot of the older pocket pistols just really were not that reliable. They were made by small fly-by-night companies that have disappeared, and they're in that case for $99 for a reason, because they're probably not very good guns. I highly recommend go with a good manufacturer. Go with someone like Glock or Ruger or Smith & Wesson, someone that has a good reputation, not some fly-by-night company that's no longer available. Because I do see a lot of that. You guys who are new, they go out and they buy some little tiny, you know, 25 ACP pocket pistol, and they bring it to the range and it shoots like garbage, and they're like, oh, that was a rip. And it's like, well, you know, you spent $99. You get what you pay for with firearms. You know, you are, if you want a good quality gun, you are going to have to pay a little more. Even in the used market, you know, you are going to pay more for a quality gun than for those cheap, you know, fly-by-night companies that made guns for 5 years and then went bankrupt because they were selling garbage. So really look at that and go with a gun with good reliability. Your life depends on this. You want a gun that's 100% reliable. If you buy an EDC gun and it's failing you, anything more than just a random fluke failure, you need to strongly look at whether or not you should be carrying that gun. You know, Glocks are very well known for their reliability. They're considered some of the most reliable guns on the market. But Glock, like any other company, occasionally puts out a dud. Don't accept a dud. Don't carry a dud. Your life can depend on it. You really need to, if you're going to everyday carry a firearm, you need to be in love with that firearm. You need to know it. You need to shoot it. You need to be familiar with it. You've got to carry it and be comfortable with it and be one with it. Know how to shoot it. Know how to load it. Know how to clean it. You need to know everything about it. So, if the gun's not reliable, you're not going to feel comfortable with it. You're not going to carry it. You're going to leave it at home when you go to get gas. You're going to leave it at home when you go to the store. If you really are just in love with that gun, you're going to carry it everywhere. You're going to use it. You're going to shoot it. You're going to cherish it, and it's going to be a part of you. And that's what you ultimately want with an everyday carry gun, is for it to be a part of you, something that you will not leave the house without. And that's really important. So, to recap, really quick, I know we went over a lot. Of course, you want to pick a caliber that's good for you. I highly recommend some of the 9mm single stacks that are out there now, but completely up to you. Get something that's appropriate for the clothing you wear. Size-wise, if you are a person who wears, you know, big baggy clothing, you may be able to get away with carrying a 1911. If you're a person who wears, you know, tight white shorts and a tube top, you're not going to be able to carry that same 1911. You may need to go with this LC9 or even smaller. Next consideration, look at the features of the gun. Are they something that's going to get caught on a holster? Are they something that's going to get stuck in your pants? Look at the gun, make sure the sides are smooth, that there's no extraneous features that are too big or are going to easily get caught on things. And one thing I did forget to mention, which during that whole section, is the hammer of the gun. I typically will not conceal a weapon with an exposed hammer. So look at the action of the gun. I typically go with a double action only, with the hammer not exposed, or a striker fired gun like the Glock or the Smith & Wesson that do not have that exposed hammer. I do not want something that's going to get caught or possibly get snagged in clothing. So look at that action as well. You want something reliable, you want a good quality firearm, you want to be in tune with it, target shoot with it, practice with it, be able to afford to practice with it. And the last consideration before we go, now that it comes into mind, is safety. We're all going to carry differently. Some people will carry one in the chamber, other people will not. Some people will want a gun with a safety, other people will not. The Glock only has the internal safety that's on the trigger. You need to look at what you're comfortable with. If you are not comfortable carrying one in the chamber, you need to look at that firearm and consider one without a safety. If you're willing to put one in the chamber, maybe you need a gun with a safety. It's really your personal preference. So you need to think about these things ahead of time, how you're going to carry one in the chamber, one not. And look at, if you are carrying, say for example, inside your waist, maybe you don't want one in the chamber. If you're carrying on your hip and a nice holster, one in the chamber might not be such an issue. But it really depends on what you do, where you're going. If you're bringing this thing to work and you may have things bumping into you or hitting you or whatever, you need to look at everything, figure it out. And like I said, the most important thing is that you carry it and that you carry it all the time.